Hey Lang. All right, so this lesson is for Friday, April 3rd, 2020, and we are on day 3 of the rhetorical analysis refresh for the Madeleine Albright prompt. Your assignment yesterday was to identify the line of reasoning in Albright's commencement speech, and identify then at least one specific choice that she makes in each section of the text. Our goal with this was we had kind of reviewed what the line of reasoning was, and then I wanted to see from your own, arsenal of rhetorical choices memory, what you could come up with for different choices that she makes in each section. But I'm going to review choices today and double check that with you so you can see the sort of things that you should be on the lookout for and remember what that is. And then your assignment is going to be a rhetorical analysis paragraph that's due Monday. So that's the overview, and I'm going to briefly review choices and then talk about your assignment. All right. So first of all, when looking at line of reasoning in the Albright prompt, when we talked about it, we broke it down like this. So first, she talks about the US and the different ways that the US as a country persevered. Then she moves to women around the world that she interacted with who persevered. And then their step, that third body paragraph, you could call it, is when she starts talking directly to her audience. And the finally is this call to action. I summon you in the name of this historic college and all who have passed through its halls to embrace the faith that your courage and your perseverance will make a difference. All right, so those are her moves. Maybe you found something a little different, but as long as it's semi-close to that, that's really how this prompt cleanly breaks up into the line of reasoning. So then your task was in each of those sections to find choices that she made within those sections to achieve her purpose. So looking at the line of reasoning, this is kind of what your topic sentences would potentially look like in a very sophisticated way if you were addressing the line of reasoning. First, Albright establishes that through perseverance, the US is continuing to refine foreign policy. Then, Albright provides examples of women throughout the world who have persevered through extremely difficult circumstances. And finally, Albright challenges her audience to persevere through difficult circumstances. Therefore, she summons them. What's the effect of that word choice? So, thinking back many, many weeks ago, all the way to the beginning of Tri-A, we introduced you to choices, which are the different moves that a speaker makes when constructing their argument. We did this with text messages. So, for example, the power of okay, exclamation point with maybe a smiley face versus K with a period. That is a specific choice. It's trying to evoke a certain tone. It's potentially more effective for one audience than the other. And the rhetorical situation determines so much about why those choices are being made. I'm going to text my partner much differently than I'm going to text my mom, much differently than I'm going to email my boss or you. My choices are impacted by that. So when you are commenting on a choice that an author is making, you want to make sure that your analysis isn't summary of what they're doing, but why they're doing it. Why did Albright decide to repeat that specific phrase at that point in her speech, knowing she was talking to women? Okay, you go down that funnel and back up, and that's what commentary is. So rhetorical situation, you're always asking why. Who was our speaker and why would she make these choices? Who was her audience and why do these choices work for them? What's happening in the world that makes these choices relevant at this time? This is such a perfect prompt to break down the why of the rhetorical situation commentary, because we have this powerful female in government who's going to be talking about much different things than if like an actress were speaking. Or a teacher even. She has much more to say about foreign affairs and what's happening in that time. And it's important for her to talk about those things because it adds to her credibility as someone who has persevered and achieved goals. So the next slides that I'm going to just very, very briefly go through, and you can look at them in detail, are the different types of choices that you could be looking for. We simplified these moves down a lot, and they go even further. And if you go back into your binders, you'll be able to look at them in detail. The choices are the moves that speakers make to enrich their writing. In writing and analysis, choices come last. Speakers don't start out by thinking, well, I'm going to use personification and imagery, and then I'll use parallelism and maybe a bit of diction, right? Instead, they're like, I need to achieve this purpose. This is my audience. Here's how I connect to them. And then those choices become effective. So types of choices: syntax, imagery, conventions, organization, diction, and details. Syntax is the rhythm and flow of language, which is created by sentence length, type, and sentence order. And then we had that example of this sentence has 5 words. Here are 5 more words. 5-word sentences are fine, but several together become monotonous. Listen to what is happening. The writing is getting boring. All right, so we broke down syntax and the different types of things to look for when analyzing an author's syntax. All right, so these slides will take you through syntax and the different things that you can look at in terms of choices and analysis. You can look at that at your own time. I don't need to go through all of that in detail. I'm just going to be reading off the slides anyway. Next is going to be details, which are the specific elements the speaker chooses to include in order to support his or her purpose. So facts, observations, and incidents used to develop the subject. So what are the different things that Albright's talking about? Why would she include those details versus other details? Imagery is using the 5 senses. Why does she want to appeal to that sense in her audience? Why does she want to make them see this or hear this or smell this? How is that effective? Comparisons go down into like metaphor, simile, etc. But you can also just call it comparison. So why is the speaker comparing and contrasting 2 different things? Remember that you want to break down why is the author comparing this to this, because they are making that specific comparison choice for a reason. Diction refers to the speaker's selection of particular words. So diction can be formal, common, colloquial, or slang. So for instance, when a teacher tries to speak in slang to you, a lot of times it's incredibly embarrassing, but that's a diction choice. And the reason that we're doing that is because we're trying to relate to you or appear to be more credible in terms of like understanding your experience and your student experience and teenage experience. Is it effective all the time? No. But is it a choice? Yeah. All right, so this breaks down diction, and then tone is another big one. This was one that we focused in a lot on. Remember, we did the paint chips, and you got to choose one word and then find synonyms that went up and down the scale of intensity. So tone is attitude and emotion. So what sort of emotion or attitude do the words create within the piece? And why does the author choose that emotion or attitude at that time for that? So you continue to break it down as far as you can. Right? Tone is attitude. That was super fast, but I don't want to dive in too deep when you can ask me questions or ask your teacher questions about specific things and review these slides on your own time because it is review. So yesterday's assignment, as a reminder, you were asked to find at least one choice in each section of Albright's speech. If you struggle to do that, it's okay. It's been a really long time. Revisit the speech right now using this review and find strong choices you can connect to the rhetorical situation. Today's assignment, you have time to do it today because we kept this lesson short so that you would have time to finish it today, but we aren't going to be checking these until Monday. But this is your assignment. Write one rhetorical analysis paragraph for the Albright prompt. Make sure it identifies the step in her line of reasoning, a specific choice using textual evidence, and strong commentary that addresses why Albright made this choice, considering the rhetorical situation and her purpose. See the following slides for reminders on structure. You're going to be typing this paragraph into a Google Doc and submitting it to your teacher's Google Classroom where you can turn in the assignment. I put this purpose slide in here because I realized that I talked about it in the video, but I never actually included a slide where it says it verbatim. Her purpose in her speech is to convey the message that perseverance can make a difference. So remember that all of her choices, she specifically made those choices because of who she is, who she's talking to, and what her purpose is. Every single bit of commentary needs to connect back to as much of that as possible, because the more that you connect back to the rhetorical situation and the why, the greater chance you're going to have of getting the sophistication point, and just achieving the task, which is rhetorical analysis, not summary. Do not tell me what she's doing. Tell me why she's doing it. Paragraph organization is here for you as well. So your topic sentence is first, then, finally, therefore, and then you clearly explain the step the speaker is making and their line of reasoning and why. Your evidence, define the specific choice the speaker uses, supported by a short, direct quote. And your reasoning and commentary should be the majority of your paragraph. And you explain how that choice is effective, considering the rhetorical situation, the purpose, and the line of reasoning. If, for a little stepping stone, you want to use one of the topic sentences that I've already provided, but maybe put it into your own words so that the phrasing makes sense to you, feel free. Because we want this to be a supported experience. This is review. We want to see where you're at and where you're at with rhetorical analysis so that we can figure out where to move next. But I think you're ready. We've broken this down quite a bit. Don't forget that you can jump into your teacher's office hours. My students, 9 to 11, just hop on in, or I'll set an appointment up with me using the spreadsheet that's posted to Google Classroom. It's editable now. I forgot to do that, sorry. But now you can get in there. And those office hours are from 1 to 3. I think that's it. I hope that's it. You've got this, all right? Just annotate that prompt. Use these slides and write that paragraph. Remember, a paragraph is 5 to 6 sentences, but we're mostly focused on making sure you're doing the task rather than worrying about length. So, all right. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for being awesome this week. I hope you're doing okay. We hope you're doing great. We miss you. Have a good weekend, rest up, and then we will talk more on Monday.